it was really hard getting into content and making sure to detach myself from the view count or the follower count. It was generally, I think, the most stressful moment of my life.
I remember you were like, oh, but after uni, I might get a job.
First week of January, bro, we hit our record. We did like a 10K week, and then piff after piff, and then more calls, and then 100% close rate. And that's the ecosystem that I've built out within the content. I wrote down in my goals, 30K month Q2 of 2026. And obviously we hit that a lot faster.
That's what makes you so different from every other setting community. Yo, what's going on, guys? And welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with
Matt Seko Chuang.
I appreciate you for it. So bro, $30,000 in 1 month whilst you were studying for your exams. How does it feel?
That's great, man. I literally just got my exam grades out today. It's actually insane. Bro, I got a first honors, I got 3 second honors, and I ended up making the biggest month in the last year. I think one of the main goals, especially when I talked to you first in the beginning, was to hit a 30K month.
It was?
It was. I wrote down in my goals, 30K month Q2 of 2026. And obviously we hit that a lot faster. The main goal, I don't know if you remember, but it was 100K within the first year of working in the online space. And just that 30K month, bro, it literally made me hit that 100K.
Yeah. Talk about the journey, the trials and tribulations to get to the point where you are now.
I think that's definitely, I wouldn't say everybody goes on their path kind of their own way. Obviously we have people that we know that kind of started in the same path as me and definitely scaled a lot faster in the very beginning. But we kind of definitely hit a lot of higher record months. And I feel like I took my time because I wanted to not only grow a personal brand, but learn the skill sets of it in the first place. So I started off as a setter, as most salespeople do. And after I got into setting, I worked with a bunch of guys and I moved into setter management. And then I moved into growth op, where I got scammed and I worked so hard for basically a month. I think a few hundred hours in like a week just to build out a whole offer. And then we met each other in Bali, and that's kind of when everything changed for me. I think you knew exactly what my goal was, and we did talk a lot and understanding what exactly I want in the next few months.
And I do remember briefly, I'm not sure if other people were telling you otherwise, but I was also telling you like to start a new offer.
Yeah.
Like, cause you'd find more fulfillment in it, right? Rather than being a growth up, because now I think you hate being a growth up, right?
I fucking hate being a growth up.
What's fulfilling about running your own offer?
I remember the first close that I had. I feel like the main thing about an offer that makes it so good is that you build everything from scratch.
Yeah.
And then you can slowly see the business grow. Like, I remember my first student, I didn't even have, like, I just got a Discord in place. I didn't have modules, I didn't have anything. I did have like the very basic modules. I don't have an SOP. And we kind of built that out together. And the one thing that I really like about having an offer is actually the first few clients that you have. Bro, they become like your brothers.
Yeah.
You know, like you literally saw a we're like bros. Sometimes we just get on a call and we just chill. And going through that journey together with other people and you see them like grow and you at the same time building a business with multiple people, you know? Yeah. Starting from just 2 people in a dream, and then it became a group of now like 4, slowly turning into 5.
100%. And to scale to your offer to $30,000 in a single month in like the first 6 months, not a lot of people do that. I know a lot of setting coaches out there.
Yeah.
They're still stuck between like that 10 to 20K a month. What would you say are the biggest levers that you pulled to get yourself to that?
I think slow growth.
Yeah.
100%. We've talked briefly about ads. In terms of understanding a personal brand, it's like, most people don't understand it. Like they think personal brands is just to get as many followers as you can. But in January, bro, I did closing. I've done closing before, right? But I had no objections. My close rate was 100%. Right? And that's the ecosystem that I've built out within the content. You know, the long forms that we posted out. Even the VSL, the very first YouTube video
I remember
we put
that.
out. Even from the reels, right? The specific things that we do, like with intention, just so they come into us and they get nurtured.
Yeah.
So like when people say like, oh, it's a sales issue, no, most of the time it is a content issue. And that's what people mostly don't realize. As good as it sounds, a lot of people buy into, what do they say it now? Like they don't buy into the coaching, they buy into the coaches.
Yeah.
Right? And all the time that, even though we weren't super intentional with it in the very beginning, one of the things that I found out inside my onboarding sheets when I tell people like, why did they join me? They said, because you seem the most genuine. And that's from content. They can tell the person I am because of the videos that I make. Like instantly sell people. I remember getting on a call for a PIF. And I was like, he's like, how can I pay? And I'm like, bro, wait, let me go through this first. Within the 10 minutes, I think it was the shortest sales call I've ever had was a PIF. It was like 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I know whilst building your personal brand, there's a lot of times that we hopped on calls and you were crashing out because you weren't getting the views. But it's good now that you realize like views don't mean anything. It's the intention that you have behind the content and like what allowed you to realize that. Because I know for the longest time you were attaching yourself to blowing up, going viral when you were seeing other people go viral and you weren't.
I think in terms of like, yeah, 100%, bro, I've gotten on calls with you where I like literally wanted to start crying. Right? I remember getting on a call with you after I was recording a reel about motivation and I haven't made any money yet. It was 3rd month in and I was fully crashing out and I had to make a video about motivation.
Yeah.
I remember that and I was like screaming and I was like, bro, I fucking hate talking heads.
Bro, I remember hopping on a call and you were literally like banging your head on the wall. I remember that.
But I think the one thing that you have to realize is like the inputs matter. You know, I feel like with content, it's not about the first viral video or the second viral video because I had a recently like relatively viral video of 30K. It made me nothing, not a single sale. I think what people have to understand, it's like you have to put in the inputs and make sure when you do hit a viral video or when you hit a video with a few thousand viewers more than your current one, they have a lot of things to actually look at your page and, you know, actually get nurtured, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not just about how many people watch that video in that one moment where you post in the first 24 hours, but if you make a list of kind of pieces of content, that mix of everything. I don't like saying top of funnel and middle funnel, but like in terms of nurturing, in terms of showing your personality, then people can just binge through your content. And that's what I've been realizing.
Of course.
Like the people that came into my page from that one piece of content, for example, a client testimonial, they binge through everything else and then they can get the type of person that I am. And then I posted out in the YouTube, which you told me to kind of prioritize, right? And after I've kind of focused more on YouTube and slowly started to bring more info into YouTube, that's when I started getting my sales.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the people who were following in my reels, they liked who I am, but they didn't show my authority as much. And then when I started posting on YouTube, it was like first full training that we did on January, that shit brought me in so much money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course. And I think like with YouTube, of course, it won't get you the most amount of views, but those are very intentional viewers. People are sitting down watching 1 hour of your content. How long was your training?
My training was like 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
There was 2.
So 30 minutes of someone watching your video, and if 100 people watch, imagine like 5 people bought in January, right? They all paid in full.
Yeah.
Or like they all like had no objections.
Yeah.
That's after a 30-minute video. The highest leverage thing that you can do. Now, I know that you've been running your setting offer for a very short period of time, and you've overtaken a lot of the guys in the space who are trying to push ads, who have been cracking organic as well. What would you say was the biggest thing that you did in your content that allowed you to scale up, even though you're not getting the views?
I think honestly, the thing with content is like most people overcomplicate it and everything. But obviously there are like hooks and the type of visuals that you do, making it interesting. But at the end of the day, it's just making sure, even if it feels like shit, bro, like you keep putting in the inputs. Right? The moment that I started crashing out, I was still posting out videos, right? And the best thing from that is like having someone there to hold you accountable. Even if I didn't want to get on calls with you, I still got on calls with you, right? Even if you kept telling me the same thing and I never did it, I still try to change it up a little bit. I still try to maintain the amount of reels that I'm doing. And I feel like most people give up too early. They don't think it works, so they try to move on to something else. Then they give up on that. Because like, yeah, people see that I'm making 30K a month now, but for the first few months, it was really hard getting into content and making sure to detach myself from the view count or the follower count. Because I mean, in terms of you, like you know that in terms of everybody else, I'm like what, 1,500 followers currently?
And you hit 1K.
1.3.
1.3.
And I thought that like, fuck, I was growing so slowly. You know, people complain about hitting 4K in 6 months. I've been posting probably consistently since like September.
Yeah.
Right? And I haven't grown that much. It's better to have more qualified leads in like 1,600 followers, 1,500 followers rather than 10K or 40K and not making as much.
Yeah. You're making more than people that have 100K followers.
Yeah.
Right?
It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I actually recently had a person with 1 million followers making less than the DM.
Really?
Yeah.
What would you say are the 2 biggest things that a business owner needs to focus on to scale their business up?
I think being able to hold self-accountability, time manage, and making sure you delegate to a team.
Yeah.
Those are like the 3 main things. I think for a time, which you know as well, I wasn't really working with the team. I trusted too much, but most people are still learning. And as long as you put in the effort to actually make them better and make yourself better, then the input is obviously going to be a lot better. Two brains is always better than one. And also, when you want to record a reel, make sure you do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of emotions and everything, there's so many times where you don't want to be scripting or you don't want to be writing down a reel or videoing. Like, in moments, trust me, I wanted to quit just because I was recording a reel. But you had to do it. Consistency is what kills everything inside content, I feel like.
Yeah. Why do you feel like you have to do it?
What do you mean?
Like, with that time that you free up with using your team, what are the biggest levers that a business owner can pull to scale up their business?
I think definitely focusing on understanding the intentions of content. So many people know that content is literal needle mover. Everything else is super, super easy. And it's better to struggle with fulfillment than have nobody to fulfill for. And content in terms of, bro, there's so many things that you have to learn. People don't realize it until they actually, have to do it or at least research it. Because there's so many things that you brought up to me that I thought that I knew, but I really didn't.
Yeah.
Like understanding hooks. Like we thought that it was so easy. Everybody knows like hook, whatever. But there's so many things inside it in terms of how you record, in terms of the way you say it, in terms of how you script it, the dream follower and ICP. There's so many things behind it that most people overlook.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what makes people fall behind so much.
And what do you feel like is the biggest thing that you learned from me that helped you scale to this amount?
Being able to find joy in posting. You were never once to me like, you have to post this. You have to do this type of video. You have to do this in order to get money. You have to post informational video. You're always like, do what you like. We try to make it as good as possible. In terms of whatever script I want to write, there was a lot of creative freedom. And in the beginning, I did feel like I was lost, but with understanding the dream followers and going through the information of the people that we want to be targeting and messaging, it like slowly made sense. People think that content is like a to Z, is kind of like, 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
But it's not. There's so many paths that you can take and ways that you can be different inside your own. And one thing that you told me was like, do what you like. Because from how I record, how I do this, is a specific type of personality. And instead of going against that, you kind of added on to it and made it a lot better to what it is today.
That makes sense. And completely like changing the topic. When you first hit 30K, how did it feel? Were you happy?
Bro, I think the main thing that made me so happy, I was buzzing for like 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, definitely in the 2 weeks. And then I became okay with it. But because of the 3 months that I generally didn't see any results and I kept putting in the inputs, that's when I felt like, yeah, it was good, right? I felt really happy. But with my team that I've been struggling with for the last 3 months, bro, they also hit record months as well. I made sure to give out my bonuses and I was happy for them. It wasn't more so of like, oh shit, 30K. Technically, it's not where I want to be yet, right? Because we have access to all of these guys that are doing a lot more. It just shows how much of an effect you can have to the people around you as well. Mm-hmm. I think I gave most of my money away. I told you, paid out my team 7K. I gave my mom and grandma, I think 5K inside the Chinese red envelopes.
Yeah.
And everything else I was investing right into the business. I should actually buy a new lens for my camera as well, which I haven't done.
So everything is about reinvestment.
Bro, everything is about reinvestment.
Why is that? Why is that so important for you?
30K is nothing, bro.
How come?
Especially with all of the amount that you can be taking right now. Even you making 6 figures a month. That's the levels that you have to reach. Because once you think that 30K is a lot, that's probably because the people that you're around with only makes less than 30K. 30K would have, for somebody else maybe, you would have stopped posting. Mm-hmm. You would have gotten complacent. All right, but I'm surrounded with people, even inside the community, they're doing a lot better. Even Val, for example, my competitor. Seeing him lock it inside content, seeing Sue get into content, seeing you putting your efforts into content and the other people inside the community, it makes me want to do more, right? And instead of just trying to be like, yeah, I got it. I'm 1.3K followers, I made 30K.
Yeah.
That's what's up. No, I was like, I need to be more intentional. Yeah. There's always room to improve inside content. I don't think there's any point in life or in the last year or last 3 months, I felt like I genuinely knew exactly what I had to do. And it's the same thing. And I find it really, really fun now. I kind of found the joy of content. Like, you know me from the very beginning, bro.
Yeah.
The amount of effort I put into B-roll and shit.
Yeah. That's one thing I respected about you. Like, you actually took the time to focus on the visual design, which is great. One thing I wanted to ask you about, how important do you believe a network is? Having it's very cheesy or generic, having a network is your net worth. But how has that affected your growth? Because I know when we first met, you were literally on zero. Seeing you scale like that is just insane in that time period, 6-7 months compared to other people, bro. It takes someone 6-7 months to scale to 10K and you did 30.
Bro, network is the only reason why I'm here today. Network is so important. Not just the opportunities and kind of the people that you meet and you can learn from them. Also, the competition that you have. If you're in a group around people making 10K a month, you're competing for 20K, let's say, right? Because that's where everybody wants to reach. But if you are with people making 100K a month, you're competing them to make 200K. The standards are completely different. When the standards are completely different, that just makes you push a lot harder and not satisfied with the current results that you have.
100%. It goes back to this thing that I like to refer to as of recently. It's like back in the day, like it was believed that you couldn't run under 10 seconds with 100 meters, right?
Yeah.
Until someone was so delusional enough that they did it. And then after that, everybody started doing it.
Last year, bro, when we first started, 30K a month was like a lot.
Yeah. Now it feels like nothing, right?
Now it feels like nothing. Bro, like it's crazy to me how fast the standards can change. Because the
100%.
markets are always changing and you have to keep following them, right? You always have to fight the biggest fish.
100%. And going into that, what's the next move for you then? Because I know like the market is always evolving. So what is going to be the next move for you?
I want to dial in as much of my content as possible. I don't care too much of my current vehicle and care too much about how much money I'm making. I feel like that's what makes me kind of scale so quickly. I don't care about the money. I genuinely never thought that I was going to be like, yeah, 30K I'm going to hit like this month. Like I need that 30K. I didn't have that hunger. All I did was I wanted to make sure that I can hit the results because it feels like a game. I only hit 30K a month. The only thing I felt like was like, oh, I was happy. I can be considered as one of the big guys now, or one of the guys that are making 5 figures a month. That's the only thing I got out of that. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's just the inputs. Like you have to love the game.
And what advice would you give to someone who's trying to scale up their offer and they're not seeing results or they're stuck with content? And what advice would you give to them?
Or just keep fucking doing it, genuinely. I think like struggle, like present struggle or short-term struggle is so much better for long-term success.
Yeah, of course.
You have to go through that pain where you are struggling, because then you get a lot better at it. I used to hate talking to the camera and I used to get camera shy. Yeah. I used to get bored trying to script and speaking to the camera with conviction, right? But now it's just become like a natural thing. I'm no longer shy on camera. I know what I'm going to be talking about. I know how to do research. I know how to script. I know how to have intention behind my vlog. All of this stuff is like, you're always learning. I think I know it now, but there's so many things behind it that you have to learn. Yeah. Right? So you're meant to struggle. Like with anything, with setting, with content, with making your own business, it never goes instantly. It's always like slow progress.
And I wanted to ask, what is your long-term goal? Because I know you don't care about the money. So like, what is the long-term goal with a personal brand? What do you want to be known as? What do you want to be seen as? I
have a long-term goal of, I don't know, I think I'm doing this all for the ego, bro.
All for the ego?
I'm joking. I think
I feel like at some point it's just for the ego, right?
It is for the ego.
Because like after 30K, nothing much changes. It's just like who makes the most amount of money.
And I think for me, it's like showing myself that I can build something. Info is in my long-term goal. Like how you phrase it from the very beginning, this is my current vehicle. And there's so many, like when you build a personal brand, it's not just about the business that you're currently in, it's for the future. I care more about bringing my brand to a certain level compared to how much money I'm currently making with my B2C. Yeah. Right? Whether I want to scale into B2B, whether I want to make my own startup outside of info within the next year, which is actually one of my goals. By the end of the year, having some sort of startup outside of info.
I heard about that.
A personal brand will help you in that case.
Yeah.
Right, and documenting and the whole idea of like what you brought up as well. In the future, when you watch it back, you have so many things that you've documented and you can see your life back.
100%, like this Copenhagen trip.
Like this Copenhagen trip,
bro,
exactly.
It's been like less than 24 hours. Yeah. I've had so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've genuinely had so much fun.
This is my favorite place in the world.
Really?
Talking about having your kids watch this in the future really resonated. Yeah. I love recording stuff, but I was never the guy to take pictures. So there's so many memories in my past that I don't remember. I remember, but I don't have documentation of, right? I don't take pictures. You never see me take pictures. Yeah, yeah. Right? And all my story sequence photos are from my girlfriend. Yeah. Right? And I feel like having a camera and being able to document, even if it's not for social media, even if it's not for my Instagram, I still record. Yeah. Because it's good. I have like a 5 terabyte SSD where I record everything.
Because that's essentially your legacy. When it's all said and done, people don't remember you for the money that you make. It's the impact that you have. And if you have that all documented, it's insane. I know you talk about visual design. I know you take your visual design very seriously. What advice would you give to a business owner who doesn't see the value in visual design?
Bro, fuck off. Fuck off. I mean, I naturally I fucking hate people who don't dress well. Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, not necessarily, like, obviously if you're at home and stuff, but if you're out and about,
Yeah.
right, the first thing that someone sees is always the way you dress, right? And if someone dresses not well or relatively not smart, it doesn't have to be performative, like how we dress.
Yeah.
But like in terms of dressing smart and casual, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because if you're clean, if your clothes, like I hate when clothes aren't ironed, for example.
Yeah.
I hate clothes when they're wrinkly. It just shows that you're lazy. And like when you go inside the gym, when you go do this, do that, that shows that you have the discipline and you have like, you care about how you look, you care about yourself. In the same way as you go into the gym so you get muscles, for example, right? I think it's the same thing, right? And it shows when you're wrinkly, when you're not smart, you're lazy, probably you don't have any discipline, right? So start dressing well. And dressing well is such a statement because so many little people dress the way you dress.
Yeah.
Whether for me, it's like the most insane oversized jeans, or it's like the way I cut my hair. With so many other people, there are staples, like even Alex Hermosi, bro. You know, he uses a fucking wife beater every single day. And that's a part of his brand, right? People forget that every single part that you do inside your life is to do with the brand,
Yeah.
right? If you dress like shit, if you get on the camera, it's poor quality editing, the lighting is shit, your room in the background is super dirty. It's like what we were talking about before. It's like a brand with a shitty logo, or it's like a McDonald's with floors that aren't mopped.
It's a representation of how you do everything in life.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like you wouldn't want to go inside a coffee shop that looks like shit,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
You would want to pick the ones that look aesthetic, the ones that look Instagrammable, where the cups are cute. And those small things people kind of tend to overlook.
This interview is so different from every other interview I've seen. It's like in a small apartment that's hella aesthetic.
I think you've always seen me using very like earthy color.
That's what makes you so different from every other setting community. One thing I've noticed, no disrespect, every setting coach looks the same. It's probably Marbella, Bali, or Thailand. And they're wearing like the same linen shirt that's quite tight fitting and the white linen pants. It's just all the same.
I think for me, it was like every single video that I use is that entire Studios hoodie.
Yeah, yeah.
It's either black or the dune color, the military one.
Yeah. For those who know, oh my goodness, this is so niche. this is so niche, bro.
I put everybody on, bro.
No.
Might as well.
I genuinely believe 2 years down the line, entire studios, Acne Studios, is going to be like the brands for
Studio Nicholson.
Studio Nicholson. No, that's niche. That's niche. That's niche. It's gonna be the brand for info. Look at Jaden. He's already wearing Acne Studios.
I mean, he's been on it for a while.
Really?
The people in info, the ones that are starting to get money, that's where they're going for.
Like, look at TJR. He has his unique style. Brez, he has his unique style.
I think it's such a big thing. Even like the whole idea of like, let's say, I hate being performative before, but now it's just become the brand, you know?
It's actually such a sick angle.
Yeah.
It's a really good angle that you can take.
Yeah, and I feel like, bro, when you dress well, it just looks so much nicer.
100%. A lot of people don't see any like ROI from visual design.
Yeah.
That's one of the most important things. Like you said in your example, Hormozy uses it all the time. Iman Ghazi uses it with his old money aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
how
that
you
became like a huge thing.
Yeah, like there are so many coaches now who are trying to copy that old money aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right? And you can curate that.
I think it's like not even that difficult. you
It's
know?
not.
Like you've seen me use like just jeans and
Yeah.
a fucking sweater. Like I'm using it right now.
Yeah.
But the proportions and everything, you know, that's like, it's just so much like small details that make
Yeah.
something change so much.
Yeah, it's how someone remembers your brand. Right now, when I think of appointment setting coaches or sales coaches, they all just blend together. They all just look the same, in my opinion. Same content as well.
Yeah.
Your content is actually pretty different.
I think it's because I don't prioritize too much of what setting is. If I'm gonna be honest, yeah, sometimes it's salesy, but like you told me, like you don't have to talk about your vehicle all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you can be salesy, but sometimes, but just post what you want, and that's what I've been doing. Now I enjoy it. Like today, before you came to the hotel, I just did a reel because I wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? I enjoy it now. I understand the inputs. I like when it looks nice.
Yeah.
You know, like me and Daniel. If you guys don't know, Daniel's the creative director.
Daniel's the GOAT. Shout out to Daniel.
Shout out to Daniel.
Daniel's the GOAT.
Daniel's the creative director. I mean, he was an editor when he first started with me, and then we worked together. And now already, it's our 6-month anniversary.
Is it?
Recently, bro.
No way.
Crazy, right?
No way.
It's
Holy
fucking
shit.
crazy. But yeah, I think in the beginning it was a very hard time trying to figure out my style and trying to figure out what I want to look like. But now he started using oversized jeans and his performative.
That's
as well.
what I've seen,
So
bro. I've seen that.
so now we understand each other. You know?
When-
Before it was so difficult.
Yeah.
But now we kept working on it. We kept growing together, and now you know he knows exactly what I want. And like that's the lever that I've pulled.
Yeah.
So many people don't want to invest in people in the very, very beginning. Daniel came to me as an editor. Nobody would spend so much time and risk that much time and money to make sure that they can get trained up into creative directing. And that's what I did with Daniel.
That's
and
what I've noticed.
Now we've gotten on a team and we want to play long term.
That's
and
what
we
matters.
understand we have a long term goal together. We align with our visions. He has what it takes now. And at the same time, we're learning together. I didn't mention it before, but that was one of the biggest levers that I pulled, 100%.
The team itself, like you'll take yourself to 10 to 20K. The team will take you to 100K, 200K, 300K, depending
100%.
on who you hire.
I think the saying goes, you can row a boat by yourself when the waters are calm. But when the water start getting rocky, you won't be able to manage yourself. In terms of like the mentorship, I don't know how other people experienced it, but I mean, we've known each other for a while now, right?
Yeah.
For basically a year. And I feel like, obviously, since the very beginning, even though you were making nothing, like in Dubai, which I didn't know, but I always looked up to you, right? And I think you giving me the effort, like sometimes you'd even speak to Daniel to tell him off, right? And all of those inputs. In the moment, I felt like it didn't feel like I needed it. I felt like you kept repeating what you said. I didn't think that it helped me. But looking back at it now, it was those multiple inputs that you telling me to do the same exact thing it's what made me change. Yeah. Genuinely. I would have your voice in my head when I'm thinking about this video, you know, like, oh, is it intentional enough? Is the hook good? Or is it going to be eye-catching? Or what I want the message to be? Or what do I want the lesson to be from this reel? And that's like the main thing that you helped me out with, 100%. It's not just about posting out the content, but it's understanding what content is for. And I remember when I was crashing out, you told me like, bro, like, why are you posting videos that you don't want to watch? And then you told me to change the style of content that I was doing and do it something that I enjoy, because that's what matters most. And when I started enjoying it, I started trying different things. I started trying so many different fucking formats. And I found one that stuck with me. And all of those changes, all of those messaging, then all of those inputs within the 3 months that I felt like shit, it brought me to the point where I felt like, oh fuck, everything is starting to stack up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, that's what content is. A lot of people don't see results like straight away.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's even with ads, bro, you have to spend money, like a decent amount of money for a decent amount of time to see results.
Yeah.
You have to test a bunch of ad creatives, right? It's the exact same thing with content. It's just a lot of people aren't willing to put the work in, right? Which is why a lot of people don't actually end up succeeding in what they're trying to do, what they're trying to build. The one thing about you is it's just persistence, bro. Bro, so many people would have given up after the 3rd month. You decided to continue. Why was that?
If I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know. I think it was Daniel, bro. It was Daniel and you. I feel like people don't realize when you have a team and you have a whole kind of like, for example, you expected me to show up every single call.
Yeah.
You know, you texted me like, why aren't you going on call yet? Why haven't you posted yet? And obviously having someone literally relying on me and putting in the work, speaking with you, seeing what he can do, researching whatever, that pushes you.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even know why the fuck I was doing it, bro. Like so many times I questioned myself. I told you. Like, bro, like we had a call where I was crashing out. If you have the fucking recording.
I remember the call. I remember you were like, oh, but after uni, I might get a job because so I can stay in London. And I don't even know if this business thing is like finalized. Yeah. I remember that call vividly. Yeah. Because I was shocked because you put in so much work to get to this point. And it impacted your life in so many ways. That's one thing that we're going to touch on.
It's just that moment. I realized something when I was crashing out. And I was like, bro, I preach this with my students.
Yeah.
You know, I preach talking about like the moment of struggle. Bro, and I'd be a fucking bitch and hypocrite if I didn't go through the struggle and I still put in the work. And because of that, genuinely, my students respect me more. I remember Seco was only 4 students.
4 students?
4 students. I ran a group call and there was only 2 students.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that feeling?
Bro. And then I had to post a motivational video. It was generally, I think, the most stressful moment of my life. And the thing that changed it for me was when I went to Japan. I remember we also had a call. You were like, bro, rip as much content as you can. And I started doing content that I like. You know how much I like doing B-rolls and posting and I didn't do that when I was in London. So I took content way too seriously.
Yeah, you completely detached from the outcome.
Yeah. I completely detached and I was like, fuck it. I'm literally doing this because I enjoy it. I started doing that in Japan. I barely worked and I was just posting out content that I like. First week of January, bro, we hit our record. We hit like a 10K week. Yeah. Right? And then piff after piff and then more calls and then 100% close rate. Like Japan showed me like when I went there, I was like, I didn't give any fucks. And I feel like that moment of stress and that moment of when I was crashing out to you, I crashed out at Daniel. Do you remember when he had a whole beef?
I remember that. I remember that.
And that kind of brought me like to understand what content is. So now if the content isn't performing and the content isn't reaching a certain level, instead of crashing out, I'm just dissecting every single thing that I can be doing to get better.
Yeah.
Because what matters most is not about the amount of views that you get, but every single post that you do is better than the one before. That's what kind of changed for me.
Yeah, it's all logical. This version of you right now that I was speaking to way back in December, how would you deal with a situation that's very difficult? It's obviously with business, right? It's very volatile, especially in the info space. It's very volatile.
Yeah.
How would you deal with a situation like that now?
I go to Copenhagen.
Go to Copenhagen.
No, I think I just take it way more lightly. I hate to say it now, but I did a pretty bad month. But in terms of standards, a bad month is like 15K,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Because of like, obviously for you, it's like a really bad month. But, you know, obviously the standards are a little bit higher, but I'm not performing as much as I want to be.
Yeah.
Right? And that's because of a few things that happened within the last month. But it's not that serious. I don't splurge on my money.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I don't do this for the money. The things that I do, I give back or I reinvest in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the time to not care too much about it. Instead of moaning and stressing about how much my business is currently making and not making, I just think about and dissect everything I need to know that needs to grow. For example, I flew out Daniel to London. Bro, we spent 7 days specifically just working on content.
Yeah.
Not literally, you know, recording the content, but understanding how to be more intentional. Bro, we started reading books together. Like literally. Like we were reading books together. We were making notes together. We had like a Notion full of notes about hooks, understanding copywriting. And like the inputs that we're doing this month, even though we didn't hit a record month or we didn't hit as much as we wanted to be hitting, we are still doing the inputs. That's what matters the most.
Yeah.
Even if it's like fulfillment or even if it's like even other parts of the business. You just have to make sure you're showing up every single day, thinking of new creative ideas, because the moment that you get stressed is the moment that you start overthinking. And because of that, you get more stressed.
That's facts.
Right? In order to be creative, in order to think of new ideas, you have to have a clear mind. And I think enjoying life is probably the best thing ever.
No, 100%.
Right? It's like it helps you be more creative. You know, like when I brought Daniel to meet you, Sue, whatever, all of these six-figure entrepreneur guys, his mind completely opened up.
Oh, 100. Like speaking to him, bro, it's like I'm speaking to a completely different person.
Yeah.
This trip alone, like the opportunities that you gave him in this trip has just completely changed him.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. He met so many people.
Yeah.
And that just makes him better, bro. And what, like, it's not even that much in terms of like investing in someone to fly out to and being close and understanding each other, spending that time. We were having like dinner dates and shit, you know? Spending like literally 24/7 together. That just aligns yourself with the team more.
100%.
You know? And I think that's these multiple levers that you told me to put in, and also trying to learn myself and using your kind of, you know, people forget that you have to actually put in the work.
Yeah.
You know? Some people think that like they go to you and they're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna make a shit ton of money, I'm gonna get 1 million followers. But you give the resources and the access to learn. But at the end of the day, it's you learning. And that's what kind of I realized, I think, a month in. And even though it was a little bit of a steep learning curve for me personally, I got there at the end in terms of understanding what content is for. And now I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy the fuck out of it, bro.
One thing I would say though, like business is everything is logical. You can't react emotionally. As much as you want to like crash out and cry about the situation, you just can't do that. Because I'm pretty sure you realize like your team looks up to you, right? And the moment they see you lose all composure, they lose faith in you. Have you noticed that?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Even with Daniel, bro. I've never crashed out at him, but like when we talk about what was happening when we were crashing out, we talk about it now and it's funny, right?
Yeah.
And I told him like, bro, I legit wanted to quit. And he was like, me too. And that's what it takes. You just need a team full of people who actually don't want to give up.
Yeah, but you have to be the standard.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a strong believer you set the standards of not only your team, but your community as well.
100%.
If everybody saw that I was giving up, was moaning too much when inside the group calls, for example, right?
Yeah.
I was stressed as fuck. I was probably the most stressed that I've ever been. I showed up to our team calls, smiling, making jokes.
Yeah.
Same for the community calls.
Yeah.
And that set the standards of what my community is and what my team is today.
Matt, I appreciate you for hopping on this interview.
This is a long-ass interview, bro.
It was a long-ass interview, but it's fun.
It was fun. It was fun. It didn't even feel like the camera was there.
Yeah.
It was sick.
I mean, if there's one last thing that advice you give to the audience, what would you say?
Buy Acne Studios, entire studios, and invest in Seco. But yeah, actually, for the last thing about content, bro, just post what you like. When you stop enjoying it, that's when you stop being consistent. And the more kind of like more hate you have for it, then you start to have some sort of you have a resentment towards it. And trust me, when we went through that call, bro, I resented. But at a point, I remember I was testing so many things, and I found out that I love day in the lives. So I just kept ripping day in the lives, and then we moved into storytelling, which got me so interested because of how many things get into storytelling. Just find out what you like and start posting that. I think that's the main thing.
100%.
Right? It's not a posting every single day, but it's posting quality videos that you genuinely enjoy and generally get the engagement that you want.
Let's do it. I appreciate you.